let's get to the elephant in the room. Can we? Can we get into this elephant into the room? Deshaun Watson's injury has now turned into a soap opera. And I don't want you guys to oh my gosh, here comes the media with this soap opera different. Listen, I've been accurate on a lot of things I've said. I believe that I was the first one in the media to say, when it came out that he got injured, I said, I don't like this. I don't like the injury. You watched it right here on UCSS in the barbershop. I told you I didn't like the injury. I told you that there were some things that with this injury that's going to linger. We still don't know what the exact thing is with the injury. We don't know if it's a rotator cuff. We don't know if it's just a bruise, a contusion. We don't know what it is. Now, all of a sudden, we get the updates on Deshaun Watson, and Monday he doesn't play. We're looking around like, well, hold on. I thought this would be the week. We had the bye week and everything. What do you mean he's not playing? Not practicing? People said, oh, G. Bush, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He was inside doing some stuff. Don't worry about it. Tuesday come around. Nothing. No Deshaun Watson, no nothing. We're looking around like, okay, Wednesday. If you don't play by Wednesday, we got to hit that button. We got to figure something out. Then all of a sudden, Wednesday comes around, well, P.J. Walker's going to play instead of DTR. You're like, well, dang. Well, doggone. Thursday come around. Not only did Deshaun Watson not speak to the media, not only did Deshaun Watson not really stay along according to some of my inside sources, but he just grabbed his stuff, rolled up out of there, and it looks like he hasn't thrown the football. We hear some from Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt says, quote, we wouldn't play a running back if he couldn't run full speed. So that means, to me, the analogy is if you don't play a running back that can't run full speed, you don't play a quarterback that can't throw the football. And we've been putting those tea leaves together over here at the barbershop. You know how we were always putting connected in dots. I told you this is a longer injury. I understand it. I get it. I know people want to have wishful thinking, but let's dig deep down into this thing, because I think not only is it a soap opera, that you're going to have to start to pivot to a thought process. And this thought process is that you're going to have to operate as if Watson is not even here. And that's no knock against Deshaun Watson. That's no knock against, what he's going through. If he's hurt, he's hurt. But the reason you operate as if Deshaun Watson is not here is because what you have to do is you have to get people prepared to play. Because here's the problem I have right now. Right now, every day, everybody's hanging on the last word. Everyone's hanging on, did Deshaun practice? Did Deshaun talk? Did Deshaun go over here? Did Deshaun put air in his tire? What did Deshaun eat today? This is a product of our hyper activity about quarterbacks. And Deshaun Watson, to me, has been everything has been put on his plate. Everything's been put on his platter. And I get it. Everybody wants to say, if the quarterback doesn't play well, you're never going to be anywhere. If the quarterback doesn't play well, you're out of here anyway. The problem with that is you're really taking the burden off other guys that have to perform. And in this case, Kevin Stefanski can't come out and keep putting all of his game plans and all of his hopes, dreams, aspirations on Deshaun Watson and whether he's going to play. The fact that DTR came out on Sunday and said he didn't know he was playing until 10:30 is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's one-on-one communication. And I know a lot of people want to say, hey, G. Bush, Kevin Stefanski doesn't throw the football. Hey, G. Bush, Kevin Stefanski doesn't execute out there. If there's one thing that Kevin Stefanski is responsible for, is solid communication. And he's had problems with communication and the guys in the locker room since he's been here. If you say what you want about the whole Baker Mayfield situation, the key was, are you in charge or no? Because Baker Mayfield told you he was going to play the rest of the season. That's the coach's decision to make, just to put your team in the best position to make plays, right? You mishandled that. You mishandled the whole situation, going back to Odell Beckham Jr. and say, you got the tape out. Who put the tape out? Was it your father? We'll get rid of you in the middle of the season. When you got to get rid of somebody in the middle of the season, that's a communication issue. It was a rift between a quarterback and a receiver. How come you can't get both people in the room and talk it out? Like, hey, listen, here's how we moving with this. When you got to a point, when you got rid of him and you talked about Jarvis Landry, you knew Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. were close. Why didn't you bring Jarvis Landry and say, listen, this is the way we moving with this? Jarvis, I understand that you guys are close. This is my thought process and how we gonna move. No communication. When Jadeveon Clowney told a coach, I'm only playing on third down, what did you say? Did you bring Jadeveon Clowney in and say, look, here's what it is. We would like all our guys to be in and giving ideas as to where you go and play on the line of scrimmage. We're not only setting up Myles Garrett, we're trying to set up everybody for success, Jadeveon. See, sometimes you got to talk. And as a leader of men, you have to be able to communicate with people and let them know what's going on. As a young quarterback, when DTR says, I know just as much as you do in terms of who's going to play quarterback, that means there's no communication. Did you talk to Andrew Berry when you decided to get rid of Josh Dobbs? Whose decision was that? Because now we're running into the same old thing. And now Andrew Berry, you just said last week, you said, Andrew, that you expect Deshaun to play this week. He's not going to play this week. So now, who was lying? Who was it? Kevin Stefanski already said he's able to play. He was cleared. Does that mean he's not cleared anymore? Andrew Berry, if you was cleaning that mess up, why'd you come back and put a date or a timetable on it again? You understand that's not what we supposed to be doing here. And I'm going to give you something in terms of Deshaun Watson, and a lot of people won't say this. A lot of people won't say this because y'all don't believe that this type of stuff counts. Y'all think everything is just X's and O's and everything is just, it's all about the field and just get out there and play. Listen to this thing, though. The reality of the situation is there's a lot of people that never really wanted Deshaun Watson that are Cleveland Browns fans or in the media. The local media, they have no relationship with Deshaun Watson, period, point blank. He's walled off. He's insulated. There's a lot of people that never really wanted to see. When the allegations came out, there was a 25% said, I don't want no parts of that. When you saw the contract and what you gave up to get him, another 25%, I don't want no part of that. Then when you had the 6 games and he didn't play magically after 2 years like he was in Houston, another 25% said we gave up too much. And then there's another group of people, smaller faction, that is always going to be looking over their shoulder at their ex-girlfriend, Baker Mayfield. Always turn around looking to see what he's going to do. That's just the reality of the situation. And then there's some people that's always going to ride with Deshaun Watson. But let's be clear. Our fan base and media is not in lockstep behind Deshaun Watson. So if you're Deshaun Watson and you've always said, I've never had a chance to tell my story about who I am. I've never had an opportunity to say who I was in the community. I've never had an opportunity for people to give me a chance to show me what I could do here. And you go out and you have your best football game you've ever had in your life in Cleveland. You high five your coach. Everything's going well. You look like the offense is coming around. You look like the leader that we was trying to get. You look like the guy that we was betting on. You have one game, and in that game, you get hurt. And instead of your coach saying, hey, this is a community, this was an organizational decision to sit him down until he's ready. Deshaun Watson was he medically clear? As I repeat, we made an organizational commitment to sit Deshaun until he's ready to play, and that's going to be my answer for this week, next week, and however long it takes for him to get back. Other than that, we're going to get the guys ready to play football because the goals still the same here. But when you don't do that and you say he's medically cleared, then all those different factions, that's red meat. That's blood in the water. They start thinking, well, hold on. Well, if the doctor said ain't nothing wrong, then what's really going on. Did he make the decision he didn't want to play? Now everybody chirping. Well, he has that money now. He has that $130 million. It's guaranteed. He doesn't need to play. Listen, guys, let's just be clear. No NFL players is out there cashing checks like that. The dude didn't play through crazy injuries, right? But I wouldn't need to say that if the coach would have stood in front of that. He didn't. So you brought Andrew Berry back out here. Andrew Berry says, it's going to be a longer press conference. I'm going to talk during the bye week, blah, blah, blah. And then he comes out and he says, well, I expect him to play next week. So now we get in the thought process that, man, this ain't even that serious then. Maybe it's a bruise. Maybe he ain't going to hurt it no worse. Everybody know what a bruise is. I go do a lot of things with bruise. Now, all of a sudden, another percentage of that fan base is taking that red meat. Now, the same people that you trying to win over when you Deshaun Watson, the same guys in the locker room that you trying to show that you're a leader, the same dudes in the same media that you trying to show that I'm back to who I am. Now the doubt creeps back in. Not because you didn't play well the last game, not because you said anything. Is because your coach and your general manager don't know communication 101. And they started a fire sale. Now, everybody, all of them people that had doubts on it, didn't know about the allegations, maybe didn't like his play, maybe that still wanted Baker Mayfield, maybe like, I'd rather have the 3 first-round picks. Everybody is looking at it crazy. And if you're Deshaun Watson, you're saying, I'm not getting a fair shake here. Why? This is a self-inflicted wound. Why? Listen, you guys don't talk about injuries like this with nobody else, but why you have a Freudian slip with me? Why is there a slip of the tongue when So my thing is like this. He's going to have to go to have a conversation with him and talk to him and figure out how he feels really. He's going to have that conversation because players, when they feel slighted, all of a sudden, they could say they cool and be professionals, but that could turn into a whole lot of things. Ask the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich about the Kawhi Leonard thing. Ask him about that. Ask about Trent Williams when he was mixed diagnosed for the Washington Redskins, the Washington Commanders. And turned out that what the doctor saw had been cancerous, misdiagnosed it, and Trent Williams said, I will never play for you again. Now, Deshaun, I'm not sitting here saying Deshaun Watson is in that area, but what I'm just letting you know is communication is key. And sometimes you should be slow to say something and fast to over-communicate behind the scenes. And I just don't think it's happened. The Cleveland Browns need to figure this out. Get back with Deshaun Watson, figure a timetable, and between now and then, they need to operate as if Deshaun Watson is not here. That Deshaun Watson is not going to be walking through those doors, and that you need to get either DTR or PJ Walker or another quarterback coming in ready to go. Because the reality of the situation, fellas, you can't punt on this season. You can't just bury it and say, oh, throw my hands up. Look, I got the worst luck in the world. If I would have had Deshaun, we had playoff aspirant. No. You punted last year. That's the problem when you punt. Ain't nobody taking 2 punts in a row. Ain't nobody. You kept Joe Woods way too long. You didn't get D tackles. You didn't get any receivers. You had Jacoby Brissett. You had Nick Chubb, and you were still throwing the ball 40 times with Jacoby Brissett because you punted on last season and you felt it didn't count after the 11-game suspension. You can't do it no more because now all bets are off. Everything, all your chips is in the middle of the table. And just guess what? You got hit with the injury bug. Chubb out. Deshaun Watson is out. We don't know when he's coming back. But one thing you better get it done is you got a whole room of defensive guys over there with a damn good defense and another guy in Jim Schwartz that ain't going to take no games. Those guys are going to be putting that pressure on you to put your game plans together, and the offense got to pull their portion. They got to pull their weight. They have to pull their weight.